Tonight, a globally renowned professor visits Port Lincoln to speak on the impact of climate change, and a $100,000 damage bill following a Port Pirie alleged arson attack.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with Louise Hedger begins now.
Hello everyone. A world-renowned economics professor has argued Australia's unprecedented bushfire season was predicted more than a decade ago. Ross Garnaut warns if politicians continue to ignore science, natural disasters will only get worse and cost the nation billions.
An unprecedented disaster that's caught global headlines.
Firefighters in Australia are bracing for the worst with more hot, dry conditions ahead.
Fire itself is colossal. Flames have been reported to have reached 70 metres high.
The military also evacuating people trapped on the shore.
Now one of Australia's leading economic professors has come out arguing he predicted this devastation would happen.
I simply read and tried to understand what the scientists were saying, and it was very clear what they were saying.
In 2008, Ross Garnaut pioneered a climate change review which was delivered to state premiers. He highlighted the devastating risk climate change could have on the future if science was ignored.
And that predicted that by 2020, as ordinary Australians would be noticing the greater fire risk as a result of increasing temperatures.
Last night, more than 100 people came to listen to his presentation in Port Lincoln. He outlined what he believes needs to be done to help curb climate change.
For as long as the proportion of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is increasing, things will be getting worse.
The government says it's already acting by heavily investing in renewables, with South Australian and local solar schemes being launched, while there's also bigger renewable projects on the horizon.
We are looking at setting up a 400 megawatts of wind farm.
Oscar Group is developing on a site near Elliston, but the company says a lack of government policies is causing headaches.
We are in the process of getting investors from overseas, our related parties as well. However, the question they are asking, what is the government policy? So we don't have an answer for that as yet.
I don't think we'll get very far unless the policymakers are listening to the science, but all the signs are that reality is gradually catching up with our political leaders.
But the professor says it's promising to see South Australia lead the way with renewables, the government's virtual power plant scheme, one of several exciting developments. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Police are investigating a unit fire in Port Pirie's west on Thorn Street, which occurred around 1:30 this morning. Fire crews worked quickly to contain the blaze and stop it from spreading to neighbouring properties. A 32-year-old Port Pirie man was taken to hospital and charged by police with arson.
It looks like it's quite extensively damaged to one of the rooms in the unit, about approximately $100,000 damage. The person has been charged with offences and will be appearing in court.
Anyone with information is asked to contact Crime Stoppers. A court date has been set following a murder in Port Augusta in November last year. A 34-year-old woman was arrested for the murder of a 32-year-old Ceduna man. She's expected to face court on March 18. Thousands of Broken Hill students returned to school today, picking up the pencils and books after a long holiday break. Local police putting on extra patrols with school drop-off zones suddenly very busy again.
From quiet roads and streets to organised chaos with kids, parents and cars, today school went back in the Silver City. Local police will be keeping a watchful eye on areas around primary and high schools, making sure those doing a pickup are keeping safe.
Whatever it might be, you just need to make sure that you're doing the right thing, especially in school zones.
Speeding in school zones is one focus of officers, highway patrol and squad cars.
It's not get to that sign and then slow down to 40, you should be at 40 before you get to the sign. Just so that drivers are aware, it's a $481 fine if you are 10 kilometres or under the speed limit, and it's 2 demerit points.
The penalties for parents caught using mobile phones behind the wheel, much worse.
That's a $457 fine and 5 demerit points off your licence. Mobile phones are a big problem everywhere, And when you combine that with kids running about, people not paying attention on their phones, it's really a big issue.
Police are also warning drivers about the dangers of where they stop their cars. The process of picking up children at school can be bedlam, with all the people and traffic in a small area. Officers say it's important to know if you're double parking and be mindful of no stopping zones.
They're there because they leave that line of sight for drivers so that they can see properly. And if you're in a no stopping zone and a kid runs out, drivers aren't going to see them.
When it comes to driving near schools, it's better to be safe than sorry. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Lincoln Council is reassuring the public that it's safe to swim along the foreshore following last week's flash flood. Concern was initially raised of high E. coli levels, but water testing conducted in the area hasn't warranted any concern. The town swimming enclosure was open today after being closed since the flood. Council has roped off certain areas of the popular beach after a spike in levels warranted restriction. PIRSA will continue to monitor levels in the area. Still to come tonight, Whyalla welcomes a new welcome sign for all who enter the city and frustration over a blue tree in Port Lincoln. Welcome back. 2 new Whyalla welcome signs at the entrance of the Lincoln Highway have been installed. Council says the $100,000 project will transform the city and provide a new representation of the town.
It's big, colourful and bold, the new city entrance structures Whyalla's newest addition.
It is wonderful to see these 2 new entry signs at both entrances to our city finally up, and they look fantastic.
The Whyalla logo represents the desert meeting the ocean. The use of the replenished stonework from an old nearby dairy and the incorporated steel planks both represent the industrial features and beautiful beaches from around the town.
Those colours really showcase that we've got the beautiful kind of water lines and coastal experiences, and then there's a lot to see and do.
The signs have the representation of our city logo, and it's wonderful to see that there's steel incorporated into the design of these 2 entrance points.
The state government providing the town with specific funding dedicated to developing these new features.
Council received $35,000 from the City Entrance Upgrade Fund from the state government, which council added $65,000 to create this $100,000 project.
More than 1,000 residents voted for their favourite design, with this feature winning with 590 votes. Council say working with an inclusive city is important to create a town locals are proud of.
There's a lot of community buy-in to what the signs were designed to be and how they look. And I think what we're finding is that it's making a really great impression from the very beginning.
Oh, it's exciting to see all these new projects happening in Whyalla. That's what we're all about, improving our city and the livability here.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A blue tree in Coffin Bay is riling some community members, with many demanding it's removed. The distinctive tree copies several other shrubs across the Eyre Peninsula which have been painted blue. The initiative was started to raise awareness around mental health and suicide prevention. Council says it's considering relocating the tree to a more suitable location. Solomon Town Primary School teachers have been busy this week undertaking a trauma information course. The school's principal says it's important for educators to identify when a student may be experiencing a crisis.
Teachers teaching the teachers. This classroom may look a little bit different to a normal day here at Solomon Town Primary, but they're learning some important lessons.
It's about educating our staff, increasing their capacity and their knowledge to be able to understand children that are impacted by trauma and understanding the reasons why they do the things that they do in classrooms.
The program, called the Berry Street Model, is a Department of Education initiative where no stone will be left unturned.
So we're looking at the pedagogical lenses, which is the 5 domains such as character, stamina, relationships, emotional well-being.
Focusing on students who may be doing it tough or just needing some guidance.
You need to remember that trauma is a spectrum, so it can be from the most smallest thing to the most biggest thing. It can be something that happens a once off and can be an ongoing effect with all students.
The end goal is to provide a safe learning environment where all teachers from the campus will be invited along.
It's a whole school staff approach, also working with our early career teachers here in the Perry portfolio. They'll also be invited along.
To be part of academic growth and really develop and improve our outcomes for all students, no matter where their starting point is.
This program will continue throughout the year. Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
There's been an improvement within training outcomes for students taking part in vocational education within South Australia. Port Augusta's TAFE SA says it's seen a wide range of industry courses increase in popularity.
More young South Australians are in training for vocational education pathways, with our state reporting the largest increase nationally. Port Augusta's TAFE reaping the rewards, with hands-on courses becoming more popular.
At this campus we do electrical construction and automotive across those areas, and we've had an increase in students interested in the electrical pathway.
In regional towns, these skills will help improve industries and help employ locally.
I think with the industry, with the mining sector that's going on and some other projects around town, including the wind farm.
Many students from school have been transitioning into hands-on learning, keeping them in the regions.
So we often talk about some of our students from last year, and a lot of them are returning this year as apprentices in those areas that they were training in last year.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. Cuteness overload with Toddler Storytime at the Whyalla Library, and Broken Hill business owners put their heads together to drive up local spending. Welcome back. Children's Storytime sessions at the Whyalla Library have restarted, with an additional class added to meet demand. The popular classes include a weekly theme preparing young children for early learning education.
Singing, dancing and ready for this week's story, a book all about eating cake. These young children are excited for this week's session.
We've got our Storytime program on, which is a program for 2 to 5 year olds and their families. So we get mums, dads, nanas.
The program encourages young children to start learning storytelling, develop their speech and also boost their social skills.
It introduces them to the library, and it creates the love of libraries. And when you get children young in the libraries and they really enjoy it, they know that it's a place that they can come and love their whole life.
My mum reads lots of books.
Classes run for 45 minutes, starting with music interaction,
Here is the sky.
then reading time, and finishing off with a fun art and craft project.
We try and make the stories relate to the craft, which then encourages the children to use some simple skills, which helps get them ready for school.
The popular program running for a number of years, with classes quickly filling up.
It's grown from 2 Storytime sessions a week to 3, and 1 Giggle Pots, which is our 0 to 2 program, to 2 a week. So we have 5 early childhood programs a week.
I love all the books.
Storytime sessions are held here at the Whyalla Library every Wednesday and Thursday, with Gigglepot classes for children under the age of 2 held every Friday.
It's free, so yeah, definitely come to the library. It's nice and cool in the library. There's a coffee machine here. It's a great place to catch up with friends and make new friends.
I love Storytime.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Headspace Port Augusta is preparing to open its doors to the public next week so people can gain an insight into its role within the community. The centre is preparing to host a friends and family night, offering a chance to ask questions and take a look around the centre.
Next Wednesday night will be the first open night at Headspace for the year, and it's hoping to get a few new faces through the doors.
The centre, what we try and do is open it up so parents, caregivers can come in and have a look around the centre, ask some of the team questions about what supports we can offer young people in the community.
Visitors can see firsthand the resources available for our youth, whether that be on paper or professional help.
Psychologists, mental health workers, we've got social workers, we've got the community engagement team, we'll have a GP service back on deck again. We can also access telepsych with Headspace at the national level.
Members of the Youth Reference Group say a highlight of being in the Headspace community is organising events.
It's pretty interesting being able to work with so many other people on putting together big events and planning everything that Headspace does.
With Safer Internet Day coming up, the centre is hoping their information night can also help answer parents' questions over web safety.
So we're going to have a bit of a focus on, taking care of yourself online as well, also games and screen time.
Members encouraging others to come in and say hello and even become a part of the team.
It's a really enjoyable time just being able to sit down with a bunch of young people to plan events and just talk. So if you want to join us, please come in and have a chat with the Headspace staff.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Businesses in Broken Hill CBD are trying to boost local spending during a quiet time of the year. 2 retail events have been organised to attract more shoppers, including one in the lead-up to Valentine's Day.
The first quarter of a new year, Broken Hill businesses say it's a slow start.
There's a lot of businesses that after Christmas find it very hard to get people to actually come in. The hot weather, the dust, etc. all plays its part in keeping people home.
To get people back into the shops and away from the online outlets, the city's businesses are banding together again. The push comes after a big success late last year with their late night shopping and Black Friday sales. The first of 2 local retail events kicks off tomorrow, a Valentine's Day shopper raffle.
If you buy from our local stores in Argent Street, we're happy to put a little ticket in.
A lot of the local businesses have donated prizes. We're making up some baskets. We should be able to have a first, second and third prize.
The second idea is a St Pat's exclusive shopping night, stores extending their shopping hours and encouraging racegoers to look locally when it comes to their outfits.
See what Broken Hill's got to offer. I myself do children's clothing. We have businesses down here that have fascinators, shoes, jewellery, outfits. We can do it all in Broken Hill.
The St Pat's exclusive will take place on the 19th of this month. A list of participating businesses will be released soon. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The Port Pirie Art Gallery is welcoming a new exhibition showcasing Indigenous artefacts dating back to the 1800s. The exhibition comes at a perfect time with newly renovated air conditioning installed this week.
A highly anticipated month-long exhibition, almost ready for public viewing. Staff are busy unpacking these crates, filled with special cargo ready to showcase.
Some beautiful baskets, ceramics, paintings, photography, some video work as well.
Each item is carefully checked and ticked off to make sure it's in good condition, but not without staff receiving a sneak peek of the items.
Where we're in the middle of condition reporting some of the artefacts before we hang them, and I've been able to open up the South Australian Museum artefacts, the beautiful baskets from the 1890s. They're absolutely stunning, really, really intricate stitching and weaving.
Staff say the air conditioning installation was essential for this exhibition, with some artefacts requiring cooler temperatures, but they anticipate it would also bring more tourism into the centre.
The education outreach that we can do to the schools, for the schools in the region, the tourism draw card and the economic benefit that it provides to our town.
We haven't had an art exhibition with A-class air conditioning for quite a while now, so I guess it's the start of the opening of our new gallery with the air conditioning, so we're really excited about that.
The exhibition will be kicking off this Saturday with an opening celebration held in the afternoon.
So the opening is going to be fantastic on Saturday, kicks off at 2 o'clock and everybody's welcome to attend, so it'll be a fantastic afternoon.
More information on the opening event can be found on the gallery's website. Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. Coming up after the break, your local Fuel Watch, and we'll have the weather details with Britt. Welcome back. Let's hear from Patrick Reinke now to see how things are shaping up when we head to the Bowser.
The first week of February has been a good one for local petrol prices. The averages are still on the way down. Starting with unleaded, and there's plenty of green on the board, but a few of the changes are very small. Port Lincoln has ticked down to $1.51, one of the most expensive in the Spencer Gulf, behind Port Augusta on $1.54. Whyalla has seen its price plummet in the past 7 days, the Steel City falling from $1.46 to $1.41. It's now the cheapest of all townships. Port Pirie and Kadina are hovering in the mid-140s. Here in Broken Hill, we're the only ones to not see any movement whatsoever. Local drivers paying $1.50. Adelaide is back into the high range, jumping 12 cents to $1.56. Turning over to diesel now, and it's good news, no prices have gone up. Kadina is the best performer of the bunch, $1.51 last week, now $1.47, a cent less than Port Pirie. Whyalla is breaking even, Port Augusta and Port Lincoln are doing the same, but on the way down. Broken Hill is almost down to $1.54, Adelaide has enjoyed a 1 cent decrease to $1.43. Finishing off with a look at the auto gas summary, hardly any movement to speak of. Whyalla did have a good week though, falling by 6 cents to 93 a litre, 1 cent more than Port Lincoln and Port Pirie. Port Augusta and Kadina share the same price. Broken Hill is not too far behind. Adelaide is the cheapest by far and still on the way down. The price there is 88 cents. Now remember that these prices are the regional averages and they do not reflect any one particular outlet. And if you do find a spot that does sell unleaded, auto gas or diesel for cheaper, be sure to let us know on our Facebook page.
Now for a look at your local weather, here's Britt Aylan.
Thanks, Louise, and good evening. We've had a warm and sunny day about the region. Broken Hill recording a top of 32 degrees. Port Augusta and Port Pirie both 31, Whyalla 28, Port Lincoln 21. And we can thank a high pressure ridge for those clear skies seen here in the satellite images. Tomorrow, much of the same, southeasterly winds on the waters at 20 to 25 knots with seas at 2 metres. Sunrise just before 6:15 in the morning. Port Augusta and Woodner both with expected tops of 34 degrees, Port Pirie 33, Broken Hill and Corn both 32 tomorrow, 31 the top for Clare and Kadina, Whyalla 30, Cleve 28, Coffin Bay 26, Port Lincoln 23. Further through the week with partly cloudy conditions forecast for Port Lincoln Friday and Saturday, sunny on Sunday. Cleve mostly sunny with maximums reaching the early 30s at the weekend. Woodner fine and partly cloudy days ahead. Whyalla, Port Augusta and Kadina all looking partly cloudy Friday, Saturday and Sunday with maximums sitting in the early to mid-30s. Showers at Port Pirie and Clare on Friday looking mostly fine across the weekend. And finally to Broken Hill where it's looking to remain partly cloudy through the remainder of the week. And Louise, that ends the forecast. It's back to you.
Lovely, thank you for that, Britt. And that's your local news this Wednesday evening. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back later with updates. Until then, have a lovely evening. Good night.